Well, I finished the Camino de Santiago and I wanted a little bit warmer weather for a change, so I went to Mallorca.
So never been to Mallorca, always heard about it, never knew what to expect. Turned out it's this Jurassic Park island. On one side of it, there's this magnificent mountain range that is very, very dramatic and is very popular with cyclists from all over the world. They come there to train because the mountains are so steep and beautiful. And so there are literally thousands of cyclists on the road as you're traversing these mountains. So it's a beautiful place. There's lots of people outdoors. There's great weather, very mild. The roads are just filled with cyclists everywhere you go. And it's a little bit like Jurassic Park. Absolutely stunningly beautiful. I went way out to the end of this point and got a beautiful view and just drove for days actually around the entire island. It's one of the oldest olive trees I've ever seen, probably well over 1,000 years old. And then went into the main city of Palma, which is very modern, very chic, and a lot of old historical things as well.
Next on my list was Granada, Spain. I heard great things about it and I was blown away.
Spain is a very interesting country, and I'm in the city of Granada.
And up on the hill in Granada is an incredible fortress called Alhambra, which I have never heard about in my entire life. It is the most visited place in all of Spain. It is absolutely stunningly beautiful. The Muslims built this in about 700. Now, they occupied it till 1400 before Ferdinand and the Christians overtook it and ran the Muslims out of Spain. But this fortress is extraordinary. It is so beautiful and very well fortified, to say the least. Now, it's very difficult to get into this place. You have to buy tickets in advance. And the way I found out about it was I was shipping my bike from one location to another in Spain, and the gal who was helping me said, "Oh, you're going to Granada, make sure you go to Alhambra." I said, "What's Alhambra?" And I looked it up and I couldn't believe it. It costs almost $50 to get in here and then another $20 to get into the Nazareth Palace. And I was able to secure both of those on the day before. It normally takes months in advance, but I did a little finagling, paid a little bit extra, and I got in, and it was really worth it. So if you're ever in Spain, make sure you go and see the Alhambra. And what's beautiful is a mix of both Christian and Muslim architecture, because this is built by the Christians, this building here, after the 14th century, after it was occupied by the Christians. And it's absolutely beautiful. And the nice thing is they had a non-hostile takeover, if you will. And so the last Muslim dynasty left the Alhambra and he was not killed, and the Christians took it over. So it's kind of a nice story in one respect. I'm sure there's some sordid parts to the whole story besides this. But in addition to that, it has beautiful gardens. And then probably one of the most interesting things is when the Galatomi is called the Alhambra, I thought, well, I lived in Alhambra in Los Angeles. Well, Alhambra in Los Angeles was named after this place. Not only was Alhambra in Los Angeles named after this place, but the Sierra de Vad mountains, which are in the background of Granada, are also named after that in the United States, as many, many places in the United States are named after famous European places. Like Syracuse, New York is named after Syracusa, which is in Sicily, which was one of the most famous Greek cities. And that's where Syracuse, New York got its name from. So I love traveling because I learned so much. Later on in the day, I had a pass to go into the Nazareth Palace. And when I went to the Nazareth Palace, I was like, wow, this is crazy. Now, I was just in the Taj Mahal, and I have to tell you, there's nothing like the Taj Mahal, but this is really extraordinary, and you'll see why. I'm going to go to the Nazareth Palace here pretty soon, and you're going to see how special that is. Very unusual architecture, and they used a lot of plaster instead of marble because it was less expensive, and they did very ornate and embellished work as well throughout this entire complex. It is absolutely huge. It takes basically 3 hours just to walk through the basic grounds, and then another hour to go through the Nazareth Palace. I spent the entire day there. It was just beautiful. And again, the weather was perfect. Now, I went in May and the end of April, and this is a nice time of the year because it's not too hot. Now, this is inside the Nazareth Palace. You can see how absolutely crazy the detail was and the attention to everything. And it's in beautiful condition as well. Now, I think they're always restoring it and always improving it. but it is absolutely beautiful. Look at the lattice work, which allows privacy. They can see out, but you can't see in. What I was going to say about the weather was it gets over 40 degrees here in the summertime, as hot as 45. I couldn't even imagine going through this. It was a 75-degree day. It was absolutely perfect. So go in the spring or in the late fall. Don't go in the middle of the summer, because I don't know how anybody could endure this heat. But it is beautiful. The fountains are beautiful, and the Arabs are really good at water features. Very subtle, very quiet, great lighting. The ceilings were embellished with both wood and stucco and details that I've never personally seen before. It's really at a high level. Now, I've been to some beautiful palaces in Istanbul, Turkey, and they are extraordinary too, but this is special. Very, very special. Look at the inside of this. This is all the Nazareth Palace. This was the main palace in the whole complex, but of course there were many palaces because it was occupied by many dynasties over the different centuries. So it was just an amazing, extraordinary place. The tile work, everything was beautiful, and of course the setting was beautiful up on the hill with the Sierra de Vad mountains, which is the highest mountain in all of Spain.